What's up everyone and welcome back to the channel. Now in this video I just want to talk about an interview which I'd watched involving Patrick Hutchinson. Now for all of those who don't know, he was the man in that famous image that went viral during the BLM demonstrations, which invoked either two emotions depending on what side you fell on. On one side of the fence, this image brought emotions of maybe hope and joy and belief of a post-racial world, whilst on the other hand, it brought the all too familiar emotion of anger because of what that image painted of black men across the globe, and that is docility. And that is what I want to talk about today in this video. And it sort of piggybacks off the last video I did talking about the Netflix deal, which ultimately I was discussing the image of black men and black people in general, to be fair, being depicted and how the all too familiar stereotypes of being gangster, no emotions, tough, has a negative effect on black men and how they're seen in society today. But what about the other negative image, which seldom gets enough attention in my view? And that is, what is the image of the black men who don't act tough or gangster, but in my opinion, they act like a normal human being who primarily uses his intellect and logic to resolve conflicts or aggressive situations? You see, those types of black men are called placid, and in the case of Patrick Hutchinson, the docile black man who's here to save the white man. Now that term docile right there and docility, for me, is a far more dangerous and damaging effect to black men in terms of their psyche and development than people would have you believe. Because it goes into one of the main reasons why a lot of black men display such hyper aggressive or violent behavior unnecessarily. Because we are taught that by being docile, agreeable, placid, or again, in my opinion, just a normal human being who tries to resolve conflict, they're seen as being less of a man and their masculinity is constantly questioned. Now we can argue about whether we should be strong enough mentally to not be worried about such, words, sticks and stones, all that kind of other stuff. But let's just look at the reality. Do you think that if this man was not black, who did what Patrick Hutchinson did in that image, there would even be an interview where he himself would even need to address the question of what he did made him look like a docile human being? But the mere fact that he did shows me that in truth, people still see black men in either two categories, either the hypermasculine, over-emotional roadman, or the placid, docile, and agreeable man who's either believes he's white or white acting. And even myself, I can relate to situations at work where, you know how people are, they let your guard down after you've known them for a while, and they would say things that, oh, you're safe, you ain't like other black people, or when I first saw you, I thought it was going to be like this, and other things to that effect, which I'm sure you guys have all heard before in your work history when you work with other types of people. Now, usually I'll just brush it off like I always do, but in the back of your head, you just remember those words and think, wow, that's what they really think. Because this is the type of dilemma that you face when all you're trying to do is just trying to be a hard-working, normal person. But the thing is, you're left in a dilemma because when you're assertive, you're called aggressive. And then when you're more chilled, laid back, you get called docile and weak and placid. And the funniest thing, and this is what kind of kills me, this whole ideology of being placid and docile when it comes to black men, is nowadays one of the most sought after traits, especially when it comes to people hiring leaders and managers, is a skill known as emotional intelligence. Now, emotional intelligence is the ability to understand, use, and manage your own emotions in positive ways to relieve stress, communicate effectively, empathize with others, overcome challenges, and diffuse conflict. Surely that whole image displays at least 75%, if not 100% of all them traits, which people are seeking for when it comes to leadership positions. And this is an area in life where people completely deride black men because they don't seem to be involved in these leadership conversations or these leadership arenas. I'm sure we'll all agree on that. Yet, when we do display these kind of tendencies, guess what we're called? Placid, we're here to save the white man, and all this kind of other things. So it makes you think, what type of person should be seen in a better light? And unfortunately, in the black community, we all know which kind of person gets seen in a better light. Rightly or wrongly, it just is what it is. And before I leave, I just want to do this. I'm just going to play a small clip which I believe perfectly encapsulates the reasoning why black men, black women act more aggressive as opposed to being more agreeable in Western societies.
I'm not saying we should go out there and start punching racists in the face, but at the same time, I'm not saying that you should sit there while someone's calling you a pet and saying the most vile things at you, and you're just meant to have it. That's why everyone loves that video of the black guy carrying the racist on his shoulder, and now he's got a book deal, because you want to believe that in the face of violence, black people should be subservient all the time and carry you with all of your burdens. They should just carry you. I'm not carrying any motherfucking body. And in fact, I want a book from the guy who punched the guy in the face. That's the book I want. It should be called Chat Shit Get Banged Volume 1, because there are many more volumes to come, and I don't apologize for that.